President Trump says he's Iran's #1 target. Now a new report from the Wall Street Journal confirms it, saying Israel informed the U.S. there was a new Iranian plot to kill the American president. Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm Sandra Smith in New York. And John, it is great to kick off this 1 o'clock hour with you on a Friday afternoon.
Yes. 1 o'clock sounds good, but Friday sounds even better. Good to be with you as well, Sandra. I'm John Roberts in Washington. This is America Reports. President Trump has been in Iran's crosshairs since he took out Qasem Soleimani back in January of 2020, and Ayatollah Khamenei's death is just adding fuel to that fire. Banners displayed on Iranian streets during the Ayatollah's funeral showing messages of "Kill Trump" and "Hey, Trump, we will kill you."
Plus, shocking new details on the multi-layered plot to attack last month's UFC event at the White House and shoot innocent civilians as they fled. Our team coverage kicks off right now. Dan Hoffman with more on all of this in just a moment.
But first to our Justice correspondent, David Spunt, with the very latest on the UFC plot. David.
Well, hey, John and Sandra, the president is well aware that Iran wants him dead, and country leaders there will keep trying. Watch.
I'm #1 on the kill list for Iran. They're lovely people. I'm #1. So I don't know. I can't tell you that, but I don't really care because I'm doing my job and I'm doing it, I hope, better than anybody's ever done it.
So the Wall Street Journal is reporting that Israeli intelligence recently shared with U.S. intelligence an assassination plot involving Trump. But the president told the New York Post today Israel did not alert to a new threat. The president, in that same interview with the New York Post, said that he's aware of the same general overall threat that exists from Iran. Now, President Trump left Turkey, took a tour of the plane. Trump then flew back to the United States on the new plane. He downplayed concerns that the plane switch was due to a security issue, but it's a fact the old Air Force One, used since President George H.W. Bush in the early 1990s, has top-of-the-line communications and security procedures. Now, the threats don't just end at the Iranian border. Look at these men right here. Just yesterday, the DOJ announced that these 8 men were formally indicted involving a plot to carry out a mass shooting at the UFC fight on the South Lawn of the White House last month on June 14th. Officials held a news conference just a couple of hours ago in Columbus, Ohio, where this case is being prosecuted.
Once we had the information that we needed, the Secret Service and federal and local partners were able to identify and lawfully interrupt a communication network that gave us a roadmap to a sinister plot targeting the White House complex.
It was all because Tyson Proper's mother called authorities on June 10th and said something's off with my son here. That kind of blew the entire situation open for this investigation. Now, I will note this case is not being prosecuted in Washington, D.C. because the men never actually made it to D.C. to carry out the alleged plot. Proper is based in the Columbus, Ohio region. That's why they've consolidated all the cases and are prosecuting it in Ohio. John, Sandra.
All right, more to come on that as well. David Spunt for us, kicking us out this afternoon. Thank you, David. Sandra?
Thanks.
Okay, so let's bring in Dan Hoffman now, Fox News contributor and former CIA station chief in Moscow. Dan, good to have you back on the program. President Trump telling the New York Post today this: I've been on their list for a long time. That's what we're dealing with. He said the only thing is I've left instructions if anything happens. To just literally bomb them.
Instructions because, look, an assassination like that is an act of war. And in the event that Iran was successful in an assassination of the president, you can bet that we would rain down hell in response on Tehran. And look, you're right. President Trump has been in the crosshairs of Iran's security services, the IRGC. There was a fairly advanced plot before the election, which we were able to stop. And that's just one of many that are probably active right now that our intelligence community is tracking. This latest one that Israel reportedly provided intelligence to the United States on a credible threat to the president. I'm quite sure that our intelligence community is following up on that. We've taken some defensive countermeasures. You talked about the president flying home on an old aircraft, Air Force One, which had better security. But I'm quite sure that we're taking the fight to the enemy and searching for those perpetrators, potentially, of this assassination attempt on the president. And we'll find and fix them and seek to either arrest them or finish them with kinetic strikes.
Bill and I spoke with Lara Trump and asked her about the threat against her father-in-law, the president of the United States, and she said this morning.
Unfortunately, I feel like this is kind of commonplace now. This is a president who has been targeted so many times. And I think it's because Iran knew that this president was one they had to take seriously. He had talked about the fact that they could never have a nuclear weapon. And I think they knew if he ever got in office, he was going to do just that.
Pretty sad state of affairs when you say this is commonplace. I mean, what this family has gone through and what the president has had to deal with, all of these outstanding threats. Dan.
It's not just the president. It's his daughter, Ivanka. Remember, a member of Kataib Hezbollah terrorist group and who was extradited from Turkey. He was on his way to Russia, but had conducted surveillance. It was in the early stages, but he had conducted surveillance with an eye towards assassinating Ivanka Trump. So it's not just the president, it's his family who are in the crosshairs as well.
Now we know 8 charged with murder conspiracy over this alleged White House UFC attack plot. Dan, there was a news conference earlier. This is the U.S. Attorney Gervais on how common these plots are. Listen.
It's hard to say how common plots are. I mean, there's, I think the internet chat groups, these encrypted applications that people use to message each other, make it more and more frequent, and they sort of embolden people to come up with plans and do these plans because they think they're not going to be detected, right? Hey, this is an encrypted app. I'm going to use that.
This is a whole new dynamic, a whole nother level, Dan, that they have to deal with from a security standpoint, the ability to converse and communicate over these encrypted apps.
Yeah, listen, I can tell you from my own experience, when you're looking at a terrorist threat, you want to detect it as far out left of boom as possible so we can detect the threat and preempt it before any harm is caused. In this case, you had individuals from different states who met on a TikTok app, reportedly, and then transferred their conversation to Signal only after first vetting the participants in this conspiracy. And so the opportunity to detect this threat was fleeting, and it was obviously very challenging for law enforcement. And ultimately, it was the mother of one of these terrorists who advised local law enforcement. And look, it reminds us all that if you see something, you've got to say something. And in this case, had the mother not come to local authorities, you just wonder.
With Roger Ailes serving as the founding CEO. Political alignment. It is widely recognized for its conservative editorial perspective. When it was created, the network aimed to provide an alternative to what Murdoch perceived as a liberal bias in mainstream media outlets at the time. Reach and popularity. Headquartered in New York City, it is consistently one of the most watched cable news networks in the United States. As of 2026, it remains a dominant force in cable news, often leading its competitors in viewership ratings. Content and programming. Format. Fox News combines traditional news reporting with opinion-based talk shows, utilizing high-energy presentation, flashy graphics, and celebrity-style personalities to engage its audience. Programming. The network offers 24-hour programming that includes political analysis, breaking news, business coverage via Fox Business, and lifestyle segments. Media ecosystem. Beyond the main channel, Fox News Media operates various platforms, including the digital website, linked to foxnews.com, audio services, books, and the streaming services Fox Nation and Fox Weather. Reputation and perspectives. Audience. The network has a strong following among conservative viewers. According to Pew Research data, it is a primary source of information for many Republicans, though it also faces high levels of distrust among those with liberal political leanings. Critical reception. Fox News has been the subject of various controversies throughout its history, including allegations of biased reporting and scandals. Critics often describe it as an advocacy-driven news organization, while supporters view it as a necessary platform that balances the broader media landscape. Would you like to know more about